and thank you so much for joining me tonight. This is another one from my series when you only have half an hour. So when you're short on time and you want to make a project, this is a card that might work for you. So tonight I'm going to be using an embossing folder that's new in my stash from Made to Surprise. I've also got some colored card, which is also new in my stash, which I've been using on pretty much every project I've been making. I have ordered the 8x8 pack of this and another pack of card. Basically, any cardstock in your stash will work if it has a white core. You'll see what I mean in just a minute when we get to the end of me showing you what we're going to use. I've got a sanding block. This is just basically sandpaper, so a light sandpaper. You don't want a harsh grain. And a large stamp. So any stamp will do, a butterfly, a big flower. As long as it's nice and big and can cover most of your panel, that will be perfect. I'm also going to use some background stamping images. You can take a large image and kind of just stamp parts of it. Whatever you've got in your stash, have a look and see if you can use something as a background kind of stamp. And either a pair of scissors or if you have a distressing tool, we're going to use that as well. But that's optional because I know a lot of people don't like the kind of rough edge on a card. And I'm going to use some purple inks and some purple cardstock. So the core of my cardstock is white, which is really key in this technique that we're going to do. And I've done this before, so you've probably seen it before, but we're going to add a bit of ink to it as well and kind of change up the color. So this pack's great. It's got colors on both sides, so you get loads of the same kind of colors, but you can flip them over if you want the other side, if you want the other color on the other side. So I'm going to run my sheet of cardstock through. I've just cut this panel to be exactly the same size panel as my card base. So it's just a front panel that will go on top and cover the whole entire card. I've gone ahead and embossed it, and all we're going to do is take our sandpaper and just gently rub over the top. Very, very, very gentle. Sandpaper is quite rough. It will take that top layer off quite quickly. So you just want to do some gentle rubbing until all the white is exposed. Now I'm using a blending tool. You could use your ink pad, but you want something that is flat. So a blending brush is not good in this instance. And you will see some of the ink go onto your cardstock, but what we're doing is we're now coloring those raised areas. And you could do this probably without sanding, but I find you get a more effective color if you do sand, and you can go ahead and apply a light color, which is what I do in my second sample, and you'll see that at the end. So with the sanding, it allows us to put whatever color we want on those raised bits. So you could do even a different color. You could do a pink, or you could do a green or a blue, whatever you want. Using the sandpaper allows us to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my image on my panel. This little panel I've cut down to be the same height as my card, or same width, and then made it less wide, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be able to see my background underneath this panel. So just trim it down till you get to a point where you like how much is going to be showing of your panel. I'm going to add my stamped sentiment, which I kind of wish I put a little bit more in the middle. And then I'm going to come in with my extra little bit of stamping, and I'm choosing that one there because it kind of matches my background. Now I want this to be a bit more random, so I'm going to not even put it on a stamp block. I'm just going to literally kind of dab it on, and it gives you a nice kind of random look. Now in my second sample, I do the dark ink for the base and the light ink for all kind of the excess stamping and edge blending, if that makes sense. But for this one I went with the opposite, so you'll see what it looks like if you do the lighter version, which I think I like a bit more. And that sample's at the end. Now you can obviously use your distressing tool or your scissors, and you're just going to gently rub. If you're using your scissors, please don't slice your finger open. Be very careful how you hold them, but you're just going to distress that edge. Now I made the error, and you can see there's ink all around the edges already, like the dark purple ink. And that's because I made the oopsie and got ahead of the self, and I was watching Avatar. So I kind of forgot what I was doing and forgot that I wanted to distress the edge and kind of make it a bit more vintage, rough looking. So I'm going ahead and I'm distressing those edges now, and then I'm going to come in again with my ink blending tool and just apply that ink all along the edges. And I'm kind of doing the edges, and then I'm sort of dusting it on a little bit as well, so it kind of gives the edge a bit more of a softer blend into the card, if that makes any sense at all. I'm not so good with the words half the time. But that is basically our front panel done, and we can go ahead and adhere that to the base. which I'm going to go ahead and use some foam tape. I've got this giant roll from Arteza. If I can remember, I'll link it for you. I've had it in my stash for ages and I always forget about it. It's ginormous. I've been working my way through it for quite a long time and it's still going. It's definitely a nice one that isn't too thick. So I've put that on the back and I'm just going to go ahead and pop it onto the middle of the front of my card. And again, you can see the width is the exact same as my card and we get that nice sort of border on the top and the bottom with our panel poking through. So I'm going to press it down with my bone folder so I get a nice even flat surface, and then I will fold my card base in half and stick that panel onto the front of that. Now, because I ran it through the embossing folder, it kind of made my card shrink a little bit and I don't think I measured it quite so well when I got it. So I have a little edge there. If you have that happen, just always make sure that when you're putting your panel onto your card, you tuck it as close as you can to one of the edges so you can just trim it off with a pair of scissors. Dead easy to fix. These are Nuvo drops in the clear and I just wanted something subtle. I wanted to have sort of only one color to work with plus my sort of black sentiment. So adding in the clear Nuvo drops gives a bit more interest to the card without adding more color and gives a little bit more texture as well to the front and top of the card. So I'm just doing a couple different sizes of drops. I'm doing sort of little ones and then kind of itty bitty ones as well. And just kind of plopping them everywhere. I don't know how to do random, so don't follow me when you want to watch random. I'm terrible at it. But that finishes off that first card. And the next card that I did in pinks. And I did sort of the reverse. So I did my image in the dark ink and then I did my sort of layering in the light pink ink. So it's really difficult to see, but the areas that I sanded down there are nice and pink. You can see the Angel Pink and Love Letter are the Memento inks that I used for that one. And I did the exact same thing and I used a different stamp. So it's a really nice, quick and easy card to do where you can use sort of whatever's in your stash and kind of bung it together, if that makes sense. I hope you had fun with me today and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give it a thumbs up and a like and give me a comment. I read them all, even if I can't reply to them all. It's been a bit hectic and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday night for some Saturday night crafting. Take care. Bye.